Hey everybody, welcome to another round of Canje Plays, and today we're getting into painting with Brian from the Cave of Creation. Hey Brian, what's going on? Oh, don't be shy.
Hey, I'm just dealing with a slight audio issue in that I haven't turned off audio on YouTube.
Oh,
That's
so
it.
you're getting double.
Yeah, I was getting a little bit confused. One Canje is more than enough.
What? What? Me and multiple? That should be fine and great. So we're gonna be painting some minis today. As you can see, I have this one with me, and we'll talk about it when we zoom down to the table. But Brian, if you would, just tell people a little bit about the Cave of Creation and the Cave of Adventure.
So, the Cave of Creation is largely about world creation, whether it's painting minis, creating art, creating maps, um, and all of the ideas and the concepts that come to create a good world, whether it's board games, role playing, bringing all of that together into something that's fun. The Cave of Adventure, I haven't done much with yet, but as I start to move in that direction, it's there so that I've got somewhere to put out the output. So,
Okay.
whereas the Cave of Creation is creation, the Cave of Adventure will be board games being played, role play games as they happen. An idea that I only came up with last night was the idea of actually using it for storytelling and combining the worlds that are created for the role play game, a story to go with it, and the art that can be created through, dare I say, the word AI. Um,
We're gonna march. We're gonna march on that.
um, so all of that can kind of get bound up. So you've got artwork in the background while you're telling the story. Um, I've yet to, yes, I said, I came up with that idea last night. It hasn't gone that far yet. But that's something that could be coming in the future when I get my head round what needs to be done to make it work.
Bots, says Yogi. Hey, Janet. Janet says, hey, guys, happy Saturday. Happy Saturday, Janet. And hey, Yogi, what's going on? So, for people coming in, we're going to be painting some today. Brian on his side with his massive setup that you see in front of him that's more incredible than anything I own. And myself just painting at the table. We're going to be swapping between each other's scenes so you can see what that looks like, and you'll see that when we get down to the table. But before we begin, I want to say thank you, my patrons, YouTube subscribers, and if you're neither, just coming in to hang out, you're always welcome here. So thank you and welcome as well. The link to the Cave of Creation is linked in the description below if you want to go and check out Brian's creations. He's done a lot of posts from Hero Forge as well as Dungeon Alchemist for building out things. So go check that out. Give him some love. It's a really great site. So let's get down to the table because y'all are here to see some paint, right? All right. So for me today, I will be painting this lovely mini. This is a mini from the game Shovel Knight. Yes, Shovel Knight has a board game. And these minis are newer to the display. It's basically the lovely king here that we're going to be painting. So I'm going to be mimicking the standee. So if you purchase the standee only version, which they do have, there you get this. But if you purchase the minis, you get this. And these minis are really nice. This is just primed and ready to go. But usually in the bosses, like what you'll see that we get, so these are kind of like the bosses that are on here that you can really take a look at, right? They are gorgeous and huge and amazing, and I'll be painting all of these and then playing the game. So we'll see how that goes. Let's switch over to Brian's and see uh, what are you painting today?
I'm painting, as you mentioned it earlier, something from Hero Forge. So this is one of the pre-made characters you get from their packs. It's a slightly older one. You'll be able to tell the ones that have come out very recently because they've just released a huge new update on Hero Forge, which is a detailed face configurator. So think MMO RPG game having that level of ability to create the face, and that's what's available now.
Very
And
nice.
I've been doing a little playing with it, which is where a lot of the pictures I've sent out recently have come from. This is a slightly older one, still very nicely detailed, 3D printed at home. You can
Mm-hmm.
see there's a slight error there on the bottom of that bottle.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry, I hit the wrong button. There we go. Okay.
Slight bottle problem on the bottom of what should be a bottle similar to that one size. But yeah, that shows you the kind of quality you can get from the current generation of 3D printers.
Very nice. Very nice. Oh, Cynthia's online.
Oh
She
dear.
said, "Hey, all, get
Can't
to
you
watch
drop
this
her?
stuff." So
We don't
she's
want people like that in here.
Cynthia. This is your perfect time to heckle Brian as he heckles us as we play. So this will be a great, great time to do it.
I haven't heckled you yet. I haven't gone into how we should be getting the Marvel Universe Society for the Protection of Animals in to have a word with you, Mr. Studios.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about at all. No idea. No idea. All right, so we're gonna dive into painting this, and as I said, this is what I'm going for. So I'll just place this guy right here. I will be using the Speed Paints Mega Set that came with. This is 2.0, so this is the latest Speed Paint Mega Set that does include some Speed Paint metallics that I'm gonna test out on this stream today. So it ought to be interesting, and it ought to be a lot of fun. All right, we'll be switching between each other's plays to show things, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, well, let's dive in. For the king, we're gonna try out this speed paint, which is the Hoplite Gold. That'll be interesting. No puppers were harmed in the filming of those videos. Exactly. No puppies were harmed. So we'll shake this up, and usually they come with the ticking noise that you hear is what is a little mixer that comes a little metal ball that's a mixer that comes in the paints, and it comes in directly for these speed paints from Army Painter that I'm going to be using, and Hoplite Gold will be my first one. So we'll shake this up. Yeah, enjoy that noise. Enjoy it. And then let's crack this open and put a few dabs in. Here we go. Probably didn't need that much, but I will be painting that. And I will be painting these as an assembly line. That's the reason why I used a lot of gold. So we'll get to those in a second. Okay. So let's see how the speed paints do on that.
Oh, I'm actually starting with an alternative brand of speed paints. I'm using an instant paint from scale 75. And yeah, that's just for the face. I'm using speed paints largely just for a base layer to paint on top of rather than do most of the work.
But, oh, nice. Very nice.
Hence why I'm using, when everyone wonders why I'm using such a dark color for the face, this is there were going to be 4 or 5 layers going onto the face. This is the very, very back layer.
And for people who are curious, Brian is the one who has been helping me become less of a sucky painter. So he has been doing if this all works.
Is it Waldorf or Stadler that's just joined, Canje?
Oh no! Oh no! It's 2 of them. Hey Canje, who's the old geezer you're painting with? It's 2 of them. I'm in trouble. If the third one shows up, the stream's just gonna go off the rails. Hey Bob, what's going on? What's going on? I was telling Bob the other day, I had not seen him in Discord or in chat as of late, so I was kind of getting concerned. He was our tour guide while we were in Scotland, and he took us around to all the hot places in Edinburgh. Did I say it right? Edinburgh. Eat these up. So, like I said, I'm matching as best as I can. And these are the speed paints, the new speed paint 2.0s for people who are curious. Close enough.
How are you finding them? How are you finding them, Canje?
So far I've liked the speed paints. Once I found out, so here's my story with speed paints. When they first came out, I wasn't versed in painting. I was still learning, and the speed paints actually were annoying to me because Brian, you were teaching me how to just paint using regular paints, and the speed paints kept coming off too dark, kept they weren't coming out with the consistency and color that I liked. So I started just sticking with regular painting. It wasn't until I discovered the slop chop method that speed paints really shined and came through. And so I started from using that method, I've been able to do a lot of the speed paint minis, get them churned out pretty fast enough, and it's been super helpful. So far so good.
I mean, slap chop, if you're trying to go for speed painting, is a really, really, and there are a couple of variants of it they've created now um, to improve on it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's certainly, if you're trying to paint vast quantities of minis, it has made a lot of people's lives a lot easier.
Yeah, yeah. And for people who are curious about the slap chop method, is you prime the mini black. You then what I my method of doing it, because you're supposed to do it another way, but my method of doing it is I dry brush the mini after it's dry. I dry brush the mini gray, and then I dry brush it again white, and it really makes the shadows pop. For what for the speed paints to seep into and really bring out that lovely contrast color. And so that has worked for me a ton. Slapshot is that Cynthia is trolling us. uh, but yes, it's a slap was it
Slap chop
slap chop method. I now it's got me messed up. Slap chop method. You're slapping
rather
on
than slap shot painting.
hockey. Is hockey a game? Wait a minute. Hockey a sport? No, every Canadian's about to kill me. Yeah. So, what do y'all think? How's it coming out so far? This is the metallic speed paint. So they've released last year they released metallic paints, speed contrast paints or speed paints from Army Painter. So this is what they look like, and decent if I do so. I think it's looking pretty solid.
The other thing I've had some success with is speed paint on a metallic base. So I was creating a bunch of aliens for Alien Another Glorious Day in the Core. And all I did was a quick base coat of a really bright silver. Any bright silver would do.
Mm-hmm.
And then a black blue speed paint. I was using on that one the Vallejo speed paints and Lotus Black, which has the blue level to it, and that worked really well. And then I used a satin varnish on top, so you kept a little bit of the gloss to make it look like an alien.
Oh, nice. So far, this has been coming out really well. Alex speed paints get the win for me so far.
Yogi, it's similar, but not quite. You're putting a more control than you generally would with a true zenithal highlight, because you're lifting everything to create the depth that you need, and then you're going over it and you're very specifically using a contrast paint which will take advantage of the zenithal highlight. So similar idea, but there's a little more to it than that. I've not used it extensively.
While he's talking about, how long have you been minis?
Longer than I want to admit to, especially with Bob in here. I first started when I was about 13, so it will be about 38 years this year.
38 years. Wow.
Excuse me while I go get my Zimmer frame. I think I need to borrow it from Bob.
Yeah. So is anybody painting minis with us today? Do y'all have minis that y'all are breaking out to go through, or just enjoy the wonderful conversation? Either is fine.
Wonderful conversation. What stream are they watching?
This is pure quality content, man. Pure quality content. Not rolling any
Oh, I'm in the
dice.
wrong place then.
See what I mean? See what I gotta put up with? Right, look at that. That's looking really good for that gold. Nice, and it's giving a nice shine too when it dries. It dries very quickly.
I'm just going to mute for a moment while I mix some paint.
Okay. This is where I'd have my magnifying glass out to do this, but I'm not doing it this time. Playing a game while I listen to Canje and tolerate that other person. It's your own fault. You invited him to this shindig. That's true. That's true. I did bring it on myself. But usually I'm over. Usually on Saturdays. I haven't been for a while, so Brian will probably, when he comes off mute, he'll give me a lot of grief about it. But I have.
You mean
been...
your joy in exemplifying the spread of grey amongst the board gaming industry?
The spread of gray. Oh. I haven't painted in a while, is what he's getting at. We used to paint every Saturday over at the Cave of Creation, and after, let's see, when I went to UK Games Expo, I think that's where I kind of fell off, but needed to get back in. So it's a good way to get back in. Right, I'm painting now. Aren't you? Aren't you proud of me? Proud of me?
What I really need to do is get the dirty stop out who's playing a board game downstairs back to painting her minis.
Cynthia. I don't know if Janet's on here, but she was saying that she was beginning to paint her copy of Arquise that had come in. I actually have that as well, and I need to paint that. But Janet, I don't know if you've finished your paint of that or not. No paint needed when Kanji plays on TTS. Exactly, Yogi. I ain't gotta paint nothing. They're all painted on Tabletop Simulator. I don't know if you saw Brian, but when I played Eldritch Horror last week or on Tuesday, it didn't go well. Um, Kate suffered a few maladies, just a small bit.
Yeah, but you like the pain.
I do. Go ahead.
You have to like the pain, or you wouldn't be playing half the games you choose to play.
Well, rolling dice. I wouldn't be rolling dice at all if I didn't like the pain. I'm gonna try to do the staff bronze. So I think there's a Talos bronze speed paint. So I'm gonna try to do the staff bronze instead of gold, because otherwise that's gold overload on this guy. Almost ready to switch. And usually what I do when I speed paint, especially if I'm assembly line painting, or if I'm not, I'll have more than one mini. I'll paint a section of one with one color, and then put it down, let it dry. It dries fairly quickly, and then I will switch over to the next. Jess, what's going on? Hello, hello. I didn't kill her. She went insane. There's a difference, Jess, okay? Jan says I'm about 2/3 of my way through. 4 more tomb robbers, some scorpions, and snakes left. Kanji, make sure you shake the bronze really good. Okay, will do, will do. So that one clumps. It sounds like you have the same set and that one clumps. So will do. What was I painting? I was painting something. I remember. Boom, that's looking solid right there. Like it's matching what we had. First pass to go through. Like I said, I'll do bronze on this. But that's the speed paint that sets on there. It's looking good. I'm in a low mini gaming mode at the moment between Frosthaven, Arkham, and Too Many Bones. Nice. Like 2 minis have to be
Did
painted
someone
every
just
2
call
months.
Frosthaven a low mini game?
Oh well, it is a low mini game. Because aren't the monster standees? Like I think only the heroes are minis. And depending on how many characters you're playing with. But if you buy the standees that were on the festival, then yeah, that's pretty low mini. You went all in and have all the 2.0 speed paint colors. So the reason why I wanted to try the metallics because I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this, but so far from what I'm seeing here, I'm probably gonna order the rest of the metallic set today, to come in because I'm really loving how this gold has gone on, pretty decent. All right, so we'll put the king over here, and let's take a look at what Brian's doing while I set up my other guest.
Now I'm just slowly laying up color on a face. So gradually building up the highlight areas, making sure there's depth to the other areas.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his setup, because you're like, man, that looks really close, because he's got his camera hooked to a magnifying glass. What he's looking at through is a magnifying glass the size of like Hubble, so that he can see that what you're seeing is what he's seeing, which is incredible. Hey Blue, good luck with the painting. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, let's back and color. Yes, this is my setup for everything right here. Water bottle. So that's what I'm running with. All right, so we're gonna go with this one today as well. Keep painting this. This is a large majority of gold on there. Gonna be on this mini. So if anyone's playing Shovel Knight, you've probably seen it goes everywhere except for highlight. They've given 4 of these with the minis that we'll be going through. Have a good one. I'm out. All right, Jess, take care.
Bye, Jess.
Gold. I can't stop saying good things about it. Like, it's layering on really well. I'm not feeling like I have to add another coat, which that's the purpose of the speed paints. And it's not patching, it's not sticking, it's pretty deep. Armor.
And one thing I just did is anyone who does all of their painting under bright light, it's always a good idea to just every so often take your mini out from under the light and see how it looks under normal light. Because though it's far easier to work in the bright light, it doesn't always look quite the same when you take it out.
And I find this, I don't know if anybody else who paints minis, I find this very relaxing. I don't know why. It is. until you until you miss, when you're adding in and you dab on something you're not supposed to, then it becomes frustrating. but it's very relaxing.
Just muting again.
While you paint, I'm gluing inserts for a couple of games. What games are you gluing your inserts for? Let us know. And also, Blue, what's the game and what's the insert that you're using? Good to know about the lighting piece. Yeah, it's the chemicals going to your brain. It probably is. It probably is. I have to come back and touch the cauldron. You're after it inserts for Cry Havoc, Black Angel, and Risk. Nice. Hey Barrett. Oh nice, you got Shovel Knight. Yeah, I spoke with Pentacult Games at just to let everybody know that this was a copy that or these minis was something that they sent me. I did not purchase. But basically I'll be covering their game on the channel, and so I wanted to I told them I'd try to paint the minis because I Shovel Knight's a fun game of mine. I have played the IP and I enjoyed it, so I was looking forward to it. And they were like, "Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, that." So they did. That arrived, and that's what I'm playing. I'm not a Barrett's caliber of painting. He's the pro.
He'll have to come along next time.
Yeah, he's. I told him I'll be he'll be joining in, and I'm gonna force him to join in over here as well. But he will be painting. You have no choice, Barrett. Go and then top of the blades with gold.
So what I'm doing here is I'm just doing lots and lots of little layers on the face or on the skin.
There you go.
Building up from a far darker base color because it creates the same kind of shading that you get on natural skin. In this case, Caucasian, it is far, far harder to do the skin on people of color because the subtle gradations and adjustments to get it right.
Yeah, there's a lot of mixing. That because the speed paints have, when they say flesh tone, it is the Caucasian flesh tone that they put out. So usually when I have to paint a mini of a person of color, I have to do some mixing to get the tone just right. Slop and drop. Barrett says, anytime I'm not a pro, I'm just a pro at slop and drop. Just know Barrett will never get any word correct, and once you recognize that, it's okay. You just let it go.
Bent, you're an expert at having more energy than's good for any of us.
He's high on life.
Mm-hmm. And I just watched one of your streams and I have to go and lie down.
Yeah, Barrett's gonna be he is part of the D&D troupe that we play on Sundays with him, his wife Robin, and him and Steve from One Stop, where we play D&D. And I'm unfortunately their DM, so they get shoddy story from me. Barry says, glad you liked it. Yeah. Figure that out on before we do. All right, so that's what it looks like. We got big touch-ups. There's 3 more of these bad boys, so I'm gonna try to use up as much of this gold as I can, not waste it. We'll move on to lovely Caribbean blue of the speed paints.
So here you're seeing the advantage of Slapdrop over detailed painting. He's halfway through the first mini, and I haven't got it finished on the face yet.
Yeah, speed paints are a lifesaver. So just for people's curiosity and driving discussion, has contrast paints, speed paints, have they been around a long time, or is this a newer concept?
Games Workshop created them probably 3 or 4 years ago. I'm not certain exactly when. It's only in the last couple of years that anyone else has got in on the act, as it were. And now everybody has, with slight differences in the way they handle them. So most of your speed paints are gel based, but you've got scale 75, there's a pigment based, so they work far more like normal paints. I don't know about the second generation of Army Painter, but the first generation certainly had issues with reactivating.
Yeah. So is
And
that part
then
of the
you
gel-based ones that caused the reactivating?
that was more with Army Painter than anybody else, but you had vivid colors that were as good as anything anyone else was producing.
Yeah.
Vallejo have just got in on the game, and theirs are very good. They don't reactivate. They're closer to Army Painter than Scale 75s because they use the same kind of logic. So I haven't got any Citadel ones. I haven't got any Citadel paints. I've got the first generation Army Painter, I've got the Vallejo, and I've got the Scale 75s.
And for people who are wondering about reactivating, that means that after you've painted on and it dries, if you apply another paint on top of it, it'll become wet again and smear and cause a problem. So it's reactivating the paint itself.
And some people have actually used it to create very nice effects,
Like blend
doing it
effects.
deliberately.
Yeah. There's a couple,
Um,
yeah, when one of the things that so since I'm still I can go solid colors and be fine, but there's a game that's coming out called Primal. And Primal's minis, which are gorgeous, are they have a lot of blended effects. So once that game delivers, that's when I'm going to be dipping into the world of blending. I'm very nervous about it because it feels like it's very easy to mess up and hard to fix.
you're okay if you go slow and steady. The easiest way to blend is with your airbrush. But if you look at the face I'm doing, this is actually basic blending.
Over. There you go.
So if you look at just the deep color tone that I started with, and the shadows and the way it's coming out to the lighter colors, that's blending, but just between a dark color and a white light color.
Okay.
Now you can always use that and then put a brighter color over the top.
Blue said, I really like the Army Painter Speed Paint set. Yeah, so far, I mean, they're not cheap for people who are like, hey, if I want to grab a set. A full set is not a cheap. You're not going into this saying, hey, I'm just going to spend a couple bucks. It's a couple hundred for you to get the speed paints, but they last a long time because with painting, a little goes a long way. So they'll last a long
As
time.
long as you're careful with them and don't accidentally drop out the stopper or use a pro acryl set wrong and dump everything out over the table.
Someone's speaking from
Not you'd ever do
experience.
that, would you, Derek?
No, who would do that? Who would do that? Yeah, so a little goes a long way. So you will get, if you're careful, as Brian said, you will get a lot for your money, but you will be spending a lot of money on it. So just bear that in mind when you go to purchase. When you're like, hey, I'm gonna grab me a set of that.
And be warned, buying paints can be addictive.
Yeah, how much paints you got, Brian? How much paint you got?
I've lost count.
He had to print an insert for his paints.
Oh no, I bought an entire organization series for my paints.
Yeah.
And in the switch to that, you can see
Oh,
a
let me pull this up.
small
Yeah,
collection.
let me pull this up. Let me pull this up. Here we go.
So if you see the size of that block there, I've got 9 of those.
So can you pull out one to
now
see?
those are
Yeah.
pro acryl, so they're slightly larger, but the ones down here take standard paints, and there's probably close to 100 in each slot.
Hubba.
Let me see if this will tell me how many I've got. No, it doesn't.
Do you realize this means that you can't complain when, at me for advising Cynthia on board games with the amount of paint you have, right? Just throwing that out.
I may also have kickstarted the airbrush series from Scale 75 that's due to produce fairly soon.
That is a lot of paint. That is a lot of paint.
Yeah. I have literally got probably at least 500 paints.
Wow.
And I still mix and blend.
This is why my game budget is limited. ... Get him.
Do you want to do comparative valuing here, sweetheart?
As you can see, the one on the left is wet. The one on the right is almost dry. Like they dry fairly quickly. Trying to knock out the other two. We'll make use of the paint that's here. I think even with comparative value, I'm beginning to wonder if paints contain crack. For Brian, they do. That they used to do that with Coca-Cola. Yep. Barrett says, "Nice. That way more than that's way more than me." Sadly, I have to go. Thanks so much for the great series. I'll catch up on later. All right, Barrett, take care.
Bye, Ben.
So you just got back from a wonderful trip that you've done. Ma'am, got back from a lovely summer vacation that y'all took. How was it in total?
It was really good. And to fill that in a bit, we Cynthia, who you're seeing in the chat, my dear, dear wife, is initially from the States. Um, and we organised it partway through to have a holiday for us and then meet up with her father and his wife. So we started off and we took a cruise from Venice to go to the Greek islands and Montenegro, and then meet up with them on the way back in Venice, spend a few days in Venice, bring them back to London, spend a few days in London, back to where we live, which is in the southwest of England near Bath.
Nice.
Um,
All in all, the
and
trip
they
took
think
was
a
how
really
long?
good time.
Yeah, how long was the trip total?
Cruise was a week. We then spent about 4 days in Venice and another 3 days in London. And then they spent a further week over here. But I was back at work for that week. So,
Okay. Glad y'all had a fun trip. I hope it was relaxing.
the cruise certainly was. The first day of Venice had a little bit of stress behind it. My father-in-law and his wife came in on Delta, which of course stands for "Do not expect luggage to arrive," and it didn't.
Oh boy. This is why wherever I travel, no matter what, even when I came over there to for UK Game Expo, I packed carry-on. Yeah, because my luggage has
Um,
been lost way too much for me to be comfortable with doing that past that. Funny enough, it was on Delta where they lost my luggage.
yeah, back in the days when I worked on cruise ships, that was the general comment: was Delta was do stands for "Do not expect luggage to arrive."
So how long did they have to wait, or did it never?
No, we got there. I think maybe the next day, if not the day after. They had a very, very rapid turnaround because their flight was delayed
Okay.
and they had to change in Atlanta. And if you know Atlanta Airport,
Ugh.
you know there's massive distances between the terminals, and they
I
were
I
booting it between terminals.
I don't understand. I don't. I hate Atlanta's airport, so I don't know if anybody's flown out of it before. But as soon as you said Atlanta's airport, everyone kind of who has done it has viscerally winced.
Yeah.
And I don't
I
get
know
it.
I did it once when I was on ships and
Yeah.
I had the same kind of problem, and I was running from one side of the airport to the other to get
The
my
crazy thing of it
connection.
is, it would be the same airline, and you have to
Mm.
run from one side of the terminal to the other. And just to let you know, Atlanta's airport terminal is the worst designed terminal I've ever seen in my life. It's busy.
Try
It's
Terminal 5 in Heathrow.
when I flew into Heathrow, because that's where we came in when I came in for Game Expo. It wasn't that bad.
Depends which terminal. Terminal 5 is awful with their new one.
Oh, okay.
The others aren't quite so bad, but yeah, Terminal 5 not so good.
The ones we came into were nothing so far. No airport so far that I've been to has compared to Atlanta's airport in terms of. Nope, I take that back. Coming back from Gen Con, Charlotte Airport was by far the most disorganized. And
But
I don't
Charlotte
blame the.
isn't the level of hub that Atlanta is.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing, like it was awful there. I don't blame the workers. I think that it was a management problem. Because I don't understand why. So they started. There are, oh, I don't know, 7 TSA checkpoints at Charlotte Airport. 7, and each one contains about 4 for TSA officials who are there checking and making sure you're good. 7 of them. 6 of them are pre-check TSA lines. 6 of the 7. So that means that if you have not done pre-check, you have to go in, which is basically the majority of, 90% of the population flying. You have to go through one of the 6. And there are four wonderful individuals that are checking TSA checks. So it's always a long line that's there. Always a long line that's there. Meanwhile, the 6 pre-flight pre-checks are empty, and there's actually officials standing there to stop people who don't have pre-check from going through those lines. If that makes any sense whatsoever. Anyway. it's it's just so it's so backwards. It's so backwards. So you get that long line of stressed out, people who are trying to do their job, stressed out checking bags from this funneled in thing of, oh, let's say when I flew to Gen Con, it took me an hour to get through TSA. And it wasn't because anything broke or anything slowed down. That was the number of people that were all getting funneled through one line with 4 people checking. Not a worker problem, it's a management problem. Anyway, that's my
Isn't
rant.
that so frequently the way, though?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Like, just don't get it. I don't get it. Stuff's not making sense. Stacy says, hi. The thing that kills me about the non TSA lines is the shakedown on the elderly in a wheelchair or the families with strollers. Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. That is so true. Yeah, but that's the fun of. But when I got to not Ohio, Indianapolis's airport, it was nice. It was beautiful. It was very streamlined. There was one line for pre-check that always was empty, and the rest of the lines were for everyone else, which was moving efficiently. Fun of flying. And then what's really cool is that they have this one area as soon as you walk in the front where you can see all the flights. So instead of Charlotte, where you drop people off at the curb, and then you will see them again when they return. In Indianapolis, you can actually go out, sit down in this open area that has food and whatnot, and chill until it's time to, you can kind of watch them pull out and take off if you want.
I remember back in the day when you could do that generally in most airports. It's
Yeah,
giving my age away.
yeah, I remember that too. But
Where you saw, if you were taking someone, you saw them literally to the gate and onto the plane.
yeah. Well, they're starting to dry on the ballot. Not using a wet palette today.
So Equitable, Canje is painting. What's the game you're painting from?
Shovel Knight. So
And I'm just doing a random miniature from Hero Forge.
we finished. We've done all 4 plus the king. So back to the king. King for the next fella. What I also really love about the speed paints, if you don't use a wet palette, is that they're very easy to clean up. They dry, they get really like solid, and then you just need to take like an X-Acto, put it on, and flip it all up, and it's gone. Hey Marcel, how's it going? What are we painting? Yeah, oh, that's what you were asking for. Yep, I'm painting Shovel Knight. Hooray for Shovel Knight. They're so cute. They're very nice minis. This is another one of their minis that will be painted, which I'm super excited for this one. This one looks really, really great. And there is another one. Cool. This guy. I got a guy. He'll be fun to paint. A couple solid colors, but fun for the ones that we have. So the minis are pretty nice. And this one was that purple. I just did the slap chop method on it, and slap chop method on it, and it came out pretty. All right, so we finished with gold. Gold has been covered. We're just gonna let this gold dry, and then we'll get to the blue and then the Greylord Gray to finish this out. So this should be pretty straightforward. For the king, though, we've got some items to add, right? We've got the fur around here. We've got red, bronze for the scepter, Greylord Gray that's going to be on the interior here, and probably on these bits as well, and then just some red that's on there. So for this red, I'm going to make use of the new color, which is poppy red. So this is a new speed paint color that's on. Yeah. So this is going to be the so this is the gold if y'all are curious. This is the speed paint. This is called Hoplite Gold. And this is the new speed paint from the 2.0 set. This is a metallic paint. Now we're going to switch from the metallics and we're going to switch back to some other colors, and this is going to be poppy red that we're using. So I am going to shake this up. Enjoy the lovely sound of paint being shaken. And let's take a look at what Brian's working on. You got something over there, or you're still...
Yeah, I can bring it.
All right, there you
So
go.
I'm still quietly going on my face, but
It looks good. I like it. I like it a lot. I think it looks really good.
yeah.
Solid. So, and this is something that Brian was saying earlier, is that you can see with speed paints, I'm just kind of, and the slap chop method, I've got 5 minis that I'm going through, but he's being more detailed and more focused and more fine-tuned. He's doing like very nice details on these faces, so it takes more time. So you can really see, like, his is going to look probably 10 billion times better than mine, because of the detail that he's taking to it. But that doesn't, if you're going, this is pro level that he's doing. This is pro level.
There is a big difference between working on a detailed or display mini or a mini that is there to go straight to table.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, yes, we're looking at this face on a heavily zoomed camera, so you've got a major close up on it, far bigger than the actual miniature is. If you take it away, it looks great, but you can't see the level of detail that's gone into it.
The camera is really showcasing all the pretty of it. The magnify. $10 billion times better, eh? I give him 9.4 billion tops.
You're more generous than I would be. So I'm about to start on the eyes, but what I'm using on that, I'm adding a small amount of retarder medium, which slows down how quickly everything dries.
Can
So
you
that
hold
I've
the
got more time to.
hold the paint up under the thing so they can? Yeah, there we
Um, which gives me more time to work.
So what does that mean? Like when you use mediums, what does it really? You said it's more time to work. So what does that mean? Is it more thinning?
This one isn't more thinning; it's designed to dry more slowly. So it's actually very thick, and I'm going to have to thin it down a bit because otherwise your paint ends up a bit too thick to work with easily. Which is what you need. You need something that's a bit runny when you're working with the eye, and that gives you something very thick, but it will take a while to dry so that not if, when I mess up,
You can clean it up a lot
um,
easier.
I can clean it up and I can fix it a lot easier. You've got more time to.
Yeah, I'm not good at doing faces. I've tried to do eyes and I
Eyes are painful, and I can't. While I'm doing this, I'm not actually set up to do my usual eye trick because I have another camera I bring in and place the camera going through my magnifying glass, and the eye takes up most of the screen by the time I finished. But when I'm doing that, I can be spending hours on an eye.
So question. I was in the understanding that mixing medium with contrast or speed paints makes them act more like washes. Is this true?
It can do. Unless you're using the specific medium that is designed to go with that paint. So with some of them, I think Army Painter is one of them, you will get a bottle of medium for that specific contrast paint, and it's a contrast medium.
And that makes is the purpose, and the purpose of that is to act like a wash. Is that what you're saying?
Not the medium means you can thin it, but it will still behave like contrast paint.
Oh, okay.
Whereas if you add water to it, it's more likely to act like a wash.
Gotcha. Brian, Janet's asking, what size brush do you use on eyes? I can't read that.
5-0 on that one. I have got a 6-0 somewhere.
Probably like the smallest brush ever.
Pretty much.
For the eyes.
But
oh, go ahead.
The number, and a big thing to know is the number isn't a standard. It changes from brand to brand. So I'm using Raphael brushes.
Mm-hmm.
84 Raphael 8414. If I was to use Winsor Newton, their numbers aren't going to mean exactly the same thing they do with these. It's annoying.
It's like pants. Every company says the size fits different.
Yeah.
So for eyes, there needs to be a special tool that has two tips that have an adjustable width. That would be great. That would be great. Yep. Marcel says thanks for
Eyes just take a lot of patience.
that I don't have. I do not have that skill set yet.
Canje, if you have no patience by your age, it isn't coming.
I have no patience for that. I have patience for no. So, it's
We'll see what Becky has to say about that.
Patience-ish. I'm patience. I have patience adjacency. Just ask my FOMO monster.
I have my own FOMO monster. She sat downstairs.
There's gonna come a shoe flying upstairs at you in a minute.
Her current FOMO, and I'm going to get in trouble just for mentioning it, is Baldur's Gate 3.
So here's the thing. I've been out of the video game since the since Baldur's Gate, the one with the Illithid with the mind flayers.
Yeah.
So this is a new one that's out now.
This has just been released, and the reviews are insane for it.
So
Like,
what's the story
a
that
number
sits
of them
on
is
this
getting
one?
10 out of 10 for.
What is the story that sits on this one? This is not the one about the Illithid, right?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's the one. It's been in early access for at least a year, if not 18 months.
Okay.
Um,
We got Cynthia says, "Don't worry, I'm saving up the retribution." Yeah, but Larian Games, who did the Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2. Yeah, I know Larian did Divinity Original Sin, and 2 made use of the method of the Baldur's Gate that I'm talking about. I just can't remember. Yeah, that's fine. So I just can't remember for the life of me, like, this Baldur's Gate 3, if this is the one that came out a couple of years ago. I don't
that
know
would
if
have been when it went into early access.
that okay, so it's the same game where you can like
Yeah.
push people off of high places and they take fall damage.
Yeah, one thing I was reading says there is a huge amount of ability to interact with the environment. And they've got it so much closer to actually playing, where you can get out of major combats by thinking your way through it.
Oh, good.
And where on previous games you might have gone, great, so I can cast a fireball that will demolish a troll, but I can't use it to get through this flimsy door. No, if you can use it to demolish a troll, you can probably use it to get through a flimsy door.
Okay. Oh, doors in D&D, I found that players have a hard time with doors.
And a big enough axe will get you through most doors as well.
Video game I'm playing when bored at the moment is Halls of Torment, which is $5 on Light. I've never heard of that.
The video game I've been waiting for is Starfield, and I just decided I can't be bothered to pick it up.
When is that release?
Next month on the 6th.
That's supposed to be like I'm gonna say an old game, but a lot of people are gonna probably say they never heard of it. But it seems like it's like Freelancer, where Freelancer is kind of like this open world universe game where you are a freelancer. You get a ship. There's a story to the game, but
It's
you get a ship.
less
You fly
of
around.
the fighting and shooting the way you had with Freelancer.
Oh, so you have played that game? Awesome.
Yeah, but it's a classic Bethesda game. So it's Fallout in space with bells on.
So when all else fails, you break out the wide brush because I can't be bothered to paint every. I cover areas that I know it won't hurt me if I mess up. Get a wider set on that. better. Poppy red is a new color that came into 2.0, so I'm just giving it a try and see how it comes out. The royal red, it while it's wet, it looks very bloody, but I'm gonna wait and see how it dries. I right as of now, I think my games in terms of video games of choice are always factory based games. Factorio is always a winner. Dyson Sphere program is always a winner. So there's a new one that's coming out called it's called Shapes 2, but the first Shapes is a factory one that's very flat and 2D, but it's still a lot of fun. But those are games that I get into. I can't for me it's either I'm playing video games or I'm playing board games. I can't do both. I can't do both. So that's probably why I've stayed away from Baldur's Gate. I own, if it's the same Baldur's Gate I'm thinking of, I own that game already. I just haven't gotten into
You're not going to make friends with Cynthia saying that.
it. Well, what could be good about it though, to be honest, is she and I could play together. Because like I said, if it's the same game, um there's a multiplayer aspect to it. So I don't mind playing games with friends. So if she wants to play Baldur's Gate with me, I'll build my cleric and we could run.
The trouble is, she also tends to play healers, so.
Oh, then we can heal each other along the way. Two clerics, what could go wrong? Someone made the joke that a necromancer is a healer that's 2 seconds too late. That was a slop chop red. Y'all just saw that. Pretty like back. Say gold, take up the most. Yeah, because I'm gonna use the ruby color for the leg arm. Greylord Grey to fill in and fight for the rest of that. Bronze, and let's pull out the next one and get this lovely blue. So to me, this is blue. If anybody says different, I wouldn't know because between blues and purples, I can't tell the difference. So
That's the blue.
okay, so this is a Caribbean Ocean color that I'm going to be using. These are all the new speed paints that came in 2.0. I think the only speed paint you're going to see that didn't come in the 2.0 set, the only two are going to be the Greylord Grey and the Holy White. I don't think Holy White is included in 2.0. I'm not sure why, but it's not. So I'm not sure why they didn't include whites in a 2.0 set. Seems to be a fairly used color in all of painting, but what it is. We're gonna shake these. Add more of that. So ocean, Caribbean. How this go? I didn't add gold to this. Ooh, that looks nice. Y'all can't see it that well from the back, but it's going on real well. Probably get a better view of it here. Good. Going over there. Transition.
You can't quite see what I'm doing because I've got
Oh, you
on
pulled
this
it away?
magnifier. Well, not on the magnifier. I've got one slightly more powerful lens.
Okay.
It's really, really small and not where the camera is.
Oh, no problem.
And
Holy
I'm trying
white
to
is an
see.
X-ray. Ah, okay.
I'm trying to see what I'm doing with the eye. See the eyes because I can't quite see it well enough
Oh, without the
on the.
magnifier. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know blue. I didn't know holy white was the new. What they just renamed it. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that looks good, right? Color compare. You see that? That looks really good. I'll do the center like coming out a little bit here. I'll re-up some gold on that to give that centered gold spin. But I'll come down these blades a little bit more to make it to there, and then the rest will be gold. You don't have to be perfect with these. Do what feels good. Painting, if you go,
That's basically the rule in painting.
yeah, painting is not perfection. I wouldn't go for it. I
Was
found,
also this is a hobby.
yeah,
Do what you enjoy. Do what feels good. And if anyone criticizes you, tell them roughly where they can go.
yep, pretty much. Pretty much. There's been many times where I've painted a mini, and after I've done painting it, I'd say I picked the wrong colors, and then I sit for a minute and I let it dry. And when the colors dry, I'm like, oh no, I didn't. This actually turned out pretty great. So all that to say, give yourself a little bit of a break, right? When it comes to mini painting, it's not going to be perfect, like Brian said. It's not going to be, you're not going to paint. Just don't go in expecting to paint like people who've been doing it for 30 years.
And it's even more basic than that. Go into enjoy it.
Yeah. And you'll
It's
find
an
you'll find it so
experience.
relaxing. It's so relaxing. Oh. So usually when I'm painting minis, when I was very frequently before, Brian will I'll just be on a chat. We're chatting about anything. We talk about anything, right? We're mature enough to have a conversation, and no matter what, it's just a conversation. So we'll talk about anything. And while we're
I
talking
agree we talk about anything. I'm not certain about the mature side.
fair enough. Fair enough. But the point to say, like, when we chat about when we chat about anything, and we're just talking, having a good time, there are these times where we lap into these silences, right? So when we're sitting there in silence, I know Brian is focusing. He's got something he can't really, Canje, you should order a bottle of Blinding Light. I think it is a better speed paint white than Holy White, which tends to be more dull than I like. Janet, send me a link to that in the Discord, please. I'll probably pick up a copy of that. Is that from Army Painter as well? The blinding light white color? Because if it is, I'll hold off on ash graying his cloak or wholly whitening on his cloak until that comes in. Then's the color that I'm looking for. And another thing, the one thing that Brian has pushed to get me off of. So I paint by look, right? So to me, I'm looking at this and I'm painting what I see. And what he's been trying to force me to do is say, throw this to the side and paint what you think it should look like. I'm not there yet. I still paint by quote unquote the numbers, but um, that's the reason why when I looked at this, I'm like, okay, it's just two colors. It's gold and that blue, but I'm actually going to switch to bronze to change things up a little bit for these. But it'll be quick touch ups.
I'm not against having an idea of what you're painting, but at the same
Don't be
time,
tied to it. Yeah.
yeah,
If you're going into painting for the first time, just let it be your choice. If you want to paint by numbers, paint by numbers. If you want to just say, you know what, I'm just gonna throw some paint on this just to see, you got your curiosity going just to see how it'll line out, do that instead.
enjoy it. Do
Yeah.
what's right for you.
Touch ups.
It's a bit better.
Yeah, let me. What were you doing? Oh, what'd you get, the pupils? Or not the pupils,
I haven't
the
done the pupils yet. That's I've just been doing the whites.
oh wow.
Then that's going to need a little bit of time to dry before I move on to the pupils. So I'll go back and look at the.
Do you try to get eye color as well when you go that detailed?
No, not on something this small. No one will see it. It might be useful if you were trying to do a blown up photo, but it's insane trying to do. I might do a black and try and get a little bit of white reflection dot in there. But you can only do so much when you're looking at, if I put my thumbnail in against that.
It's super tiny. Good. Like I think making this into a series, painting, getting back into painting time.
That
It'll
sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah, it's you'll see me going through all of these different ones as well. So my plan is to do one boss, four minis, until the painting's complete. Then I'll play the game and give y'all a view of how Shovel Knight plays. And it's an interesting concept of this game too for people. On Board Game Geek, the rating on the game is a 7.1 for people who've played it. Um, I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I have to say that the concept sounds cool, which is you have a scrolling board. So as you leave one tile, you take a tile away and a new tile comes in. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So if it lives up to the hype.
Yeah, what I want to see is almost a dungeon crawler or similar type game that has similar creation but not gameplay mechanics to Betrayal House on the Hill.
Yeah, you were saying that game is like a missed opportunity for you before.
Yeah, I don't like the betrayal section. Yeah, so I'm kind of, I don't like one of the main concepts that the game is based on, but the way that you construct your dungeon or the house that you're going through, I love that concept that you've got complete replayability because it's never going to be the same house. And then you've got like a book of different missions to do it with. So if you were to take something like Mansions of Madness and take it down a similar route,
It would be exactly what you're looking
yeah.
for. Kanji, did you order the gambler's chest? No, I am not in the. I love KDM. I think Brian would love the minis of KDM. But nope. Aeon
Are you
Trust.
trying to say something about me there, Canje?
Well, no, it's just more that you like very detailed minis and that are unique, right? You like stuff that'll.
I know what the minis on KDM are, especially if you go outside the game into the rest of the lore.
Oh yes, that's kind
They
of.
can be
Not that, not that. That's very risque. But more the minis themselves.
that's an understatement, my friend.
I think about when I talk about the minis, I think about like the butcher, Grom, the tree, the phoenix, the screaming antelope, even the lion, the first battle that you fight, I think have that unique feel, and they come separated. You have to put the minis together. So I think they'll get you. You know, I think you would like those the mini quality on those. But no, Aeon Trespass Odyssey has my money. KDM, I think it was just at the time. I wish I would have backed it on a Kickstarter because then I would have gotten it for an amazing deal and price. But now it's too much. That and ATO I can't justify.
It's
But
almost get another mortgage for your house, isn't it, these days?
yeah, yeah, you're talking about in the thousands of dollars to become a collector of ADM stuff. Too rich for my blood. But a poor man. I'm but a poor information broker.
Yeah, right.
All I do is just pass information along.
Keep telling yourself that.
I don't think I've ever said y'all need to get this game
Oh,
or
I've
you
heard that come out
should.
of your lips. So
I've said it to Cynthia about a couple games, but not about many. Not about many. All I do is provide information.
I think she's away from the stream and feeding the dogs, so she probably can't hear you to correct you.
I've said nothing false. And I stand by that. It's $420 for the core box, and that's discounted on a Black Friday. $420. And then another $500 if you're adding on certain expansions. So as you can see, it's a money sink. It's a great. I think the mechanics of the game are well done. Um, I think it's a really great design that did something different for the time when it came out. So the reason, I hopped on Aeon Trespass Odyssey because it was the Greek version of KDM, and it is. I'll call it what it is. But because it was on the Kickstarter, you got a lot more for a lot less. So I'm into ATO, um, for my needs. So I think overall for Aeon Trespass Odyssey, I haven't crossed the $1,000 range, on that. So far, so good.
I think we've done that on Arkham.
True. Yeah. It's such a good game.
You just like it because you can abuse animals in it.
Wait a minute. I did not kill any dogs in Arkham Horror. Eldritch Horror is a different story.
Okay,
But
in
I
Arkham Horror with Kate.
Eldritch Horror is a different story, but Arkham Horror, I killed no animals were harmed by me.
And wasn't it Marvel or was it Eldritch that you did it last week?
Eldritch, yeah. But I lost. So I died anyway.
Oh, what a shame.
I could tell you were really rooting for me on that one.
I'm just worried you could have answered my question on this stream. And you're just painting.
Which one?
The usual one.
Oh. Am I dead yet? Almost.
That'll be the one.
Almost. I'm into print plays, and they cost roughly $150 USD to professionally print. The print and plays I've done so far have been card based, so they haven't that hasn't destroyed my wallet. So I'm curious, what have you, Yogi? What have you printed, that's run a little bit higher? Was it for KDM or something else? I think the most I've spent on a print and play, which is cards for Marvel United, I printed out a bunch of villains in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles expansion, and that ran me about $50, I think, for myself and Steve. Get that done. The print and plays aren't too expensive, and usually I'd go to the FedEx Center and just get it printed that way too, which is a little bit cheaper. Dark Matter and the Call of the Plague Bearer are the two P&Ps I ordered. Our Arkham fan-made expansion. Oh, yeah, all those cards definitely will run you up a nice tally. Hey, yeah. And for people who are just kind of watching this or interested in getting into painting and their hands shake, my hands shake constantly. Brian, you did a video on how to solve that, correct? That's over on the Cave of Creation.
What you can't see, let's move this a bit further forward so you can see what I'm doing.
Oh, let me get over to you. Hold on.
Oh,
there we go.
You can't see because it's black on black deliberately, but you can just see the edges of, when I put my hand on it, the wooden block that I've got just there. I'm bracing, put it back a bit. My hands are on the wooden block. They're in contact with the mini so that I've got as much stability as I can. And you know, if you look at the size of my brush and the eyes that I'm working on, it's tiny. But I can get enough stability to do that. Now I've got to put everything back in a place where you can see it on camera. And the black on black is very deliberate so that it doesn't affect the background. But if I flip it over, there is still pale wood on the bottom. So braced against that.
Very nice. So Derek, are you now a die-hard fan of contrast speed paints, or do you still prefer regular paints? That's one to think on. I am a fan of both.
That's a cop out.
I'm a fan of both only because to me, if the reason why I say that, to me, if I'm just, let's just say, you know, I got a mini, it's not for a board game, it's like what you're doing where it's just kind of regular paint out, I'll do regular paints. I won't use speed paints. I'll take my time with it. There's no rush or crunch or feeling, or there's no I hate assembly line painting. I can't stand it. So
I'm with you there.
if there is assembly line painting, and assembly line is what I'm doing now, right? Where I've got I've got 4 of these. But if you play Zombicide, there's like 10 million and you have to paint them all. It's mind-numbingly boring after a while for me. So speed paints all the way for assembly line painting. But if it's a mini, not for a board game, it's just something cool to paint, and I will not speed paint it. I will regular paint it and take my time, like what Brian's doing with it. So that's why I was like, I like both, but it depends on what I'm doing. But if it's for like I need to get a game to the table very quickly and I need to paint these out, speed paints all the way.
And there is the caveat that comes with the way I'm doing it. I've been going an hour and a half.
Yeah, so it takes time with regular paints. A lot of time, a lot of patience. But it's for relaxation and it's not for okay. I don't do this, but I know a few people do where they're like, I'm not playing a game unless it's painted, right? Speed paints all the way for that. So that way you can get it done, get to the table, and enjoy the creation.
Of course, what I should have done is come in and finished this one.
Let me see. Oh my gosh. I completely forgot about that mini.
That mini is Canje.
The glasses are incredible.
You asked for them.
I did. It had to be done. But the glasses look incredible. Funny enough, it's close to what I'm wearing. Ooh, that reminds me to paint up Arquise before I play it. Note to self. That is what Janet is doing presently. She's gonna be she's painting up Arquise, and her minis always come out good. I need to paint that as well because I do want to get that game to the table. I'm taking my time with it because I don't need to be I'm the first to do this or that. So it'll come out, it'll get to the table, but I don't need to be the first to do it.
So I'm about to mute again while I make sure these eyes are thoroughly dry, but it enables me to mention another trick to people, which is a hairdryer. If you don't want to wait, if you are in a hurry, you don't want to wait for your paints to dry, just quickly go over them with a hairdryer on medium heat. It takes 3 or 4 seconds and they'll be bone dry and you can move on with the next bit. If you're doing more advanced things like glazing, it's perfect because otherwise you're waiting 5 minutes between each glaze. And awesome. Your mini takes all day.
Thank you, Marcel. I have not painted in a very long time, so not looking like crap makes me feel good.
You are better than you ever give yourself credit for, Derek.
I am all right. I every single time I look at yours or Janet's or somebody else's, I'm like, oh, why am I doing this?
You will always find someone that can do it better.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Cool, so that's all 4 of those. Get the king back out.
I've been painting for, I think I said at the beginning, 38 years. But I did take a long break in the middle of it. So I started when I was a teenager. I probably stopped for 10 or 15 years in the middle.
What happened? Like, was that just life, basically?
life.
Yeah, yeah. You're doing it because you love painting, right? So when I first started, I was just like, I just want to. Brian kept saying, "Paint, just try it, just try it, just try it, just try it." And he kept saying it with that exact cadence until I gave in to shut him up, and then I enjoyed it. So, so yeah, I do enjoy painting. I think it's very relaxing. All right, so this is from the Speed Paint 1.0 set, which is Slaughter Red. I'm going to be using this for the rubies, as well as the legs on the king, for this paint out. Oh, drops of that enough. Slaughter Red. There's 2.0 on it, but you can also buy it in the 1.0 box. I have that as well. Can't remember if I washed. Yep, I did. Okay.
I'm working off camera again because I'm trying to do the pupil.
Okay, so now you said 1.0. I've been wondering if you or anyone has noticed any real difference between 1.0 and 2.0. Yes, there are different colors in 2.0. Their whole thing of 1.0, 2.0 is just their distribution set, right? So 1.0 has their first iteration of speed paints that don't have metallics. That while it's a nice color palette that you're getting, it's what it is. But the 2.0s come with different colors. It's not the same color that you get. I think they switched out from what I'm understanding, they switched out Holy Gray for the Ashen Stone color. They added metallics and they went deeper and more detailed on the other color palettes. So if you get 1.0, you'll get certain colors, and 2.0, you'll get some other newer colors. So it's not, oh, it's the same thing repackaged. It's more colors. Think of it as like
They
season
also
1, season
changed.
2.
They also changed their chemical formula slightly,
Oh, okay.
so it is less likely to reactivate.
Okay. So you get a little bit more mess up room with it. They also reissued some of the 1.0s with the mix. Ah, gotcha. Yeah, because I know that the Slaughter Red was in 1.0. I use that a fair deal. So far, the metallics are winning for me here. So I will be ordering the rest of all the metallic. And you see me with this mini in my hand instead of on one of the stand thingies because this is a big mini. So therefore, it doesn't fit on one of my I'd have to buy an extra large one, which I'm not gonna do. I'm just gonna hold it with my hand.
If you have a 3D printer, and I'm talking to anyone besides Canje right here, on Thingiverse, if you look, so let's pop that off the top. This actual model isn't on there yet because I'm still testing it, but you will find, if you look for paint holders, they're
Let me
designed, and there's three
get you in there.
versions
Get you in. There you go.
to hold coins in the bottom, so you've got some weight to it. And then the top has slots on it with holes. The holes, if you're a more advanced painter and you put pins in the feet of your minis, I'm trying to see if I've got one up here. So you can see there, so I can get to the entire mini, the base is pinned. You can put a paper clip into the holes. The ridges are so that it will hold blue tack well to hold your mini. And the latest version, what I'm doing is I'm actually enabling it to put a magnet in the middle, because I've put the coin in the bottom of the mini, and that then just locks onto the top.
Nice.
And it adds some weight to your mini, so that when you're using it, it doesn't fall over as easily.
Is there a specific magnet that you use, or just any old?
These are ones I found on Amazon, and I'll be putting a link to these when I finish the design.
Okay.
And euros, British pennies made after 1993, and cents will all work because they have a ferrous metal core, so they're magnetic. As long as the coinage is magnetic, you're fine.
You realize this makes you guilty of wizardry, right? Sorcery.
I've been doing that for years.
Yeah, I think that'll be super helpful. And for people who are like saying, "Oh, this looks cool, I'll go buy me a set," I highly recommend you get a wet palette. Like I'm not using one here on purpose, but I highly recommend you go get a wet palette. Wet palettes are amazing. Paints tend to dry out very easily. Speed paints tend to dry out very easily. A wet palette kind of puts the kibosh on that and gives you more time. They'll still dry out, but
I'm
after a
using a wet
long
palette
time.
over here.
You said you are using one?
Yeah, I'll just put it under the camera.
Yeah. And you don't, and the great thing about a wet palette is you can actually make your own if you don't want to pay a ton of money. If you're like, that sounds cool, but I don't have the income for that, that's all good. You can make your own wet palettes super easy. A sponge. Some type of I think it's you take a paper towel, you wet it, you put it on a surface, and then you take parchment paper and you put parchment paper on top of it, and boom, you got a wet palette.
Pretty much.
So they're very easy to make. The ones that are sold, they come with reusable, but you'll have to discard it after you're done. The ones that are sold come with an antibacterial on it, so that you can reuse it, close it down, come back, and you won't be making a petri dish.
I'm just dry brushing the edges of the hair right now so that it gains a bit more life, especially in the direction that the sun is supposed to be coming. Now this, it's not a perfect dry brush, but as one of my other brushes died, I basically converted it into a dry brush. By chopping the ends down a bit to get one that's smaller. But for dry brushing, a lot of time, if you're doing bigger things, makeup brushes will do quite well.
Yeah, I actually have, when I do the slap chop method, I use a makeup brush. This one right,
I have a makeup brush,
right
but
here.
I also have the Army Painter dry brushes as well. I haven't gone for the Artist's Opus ones, which cost a lot.
Right, so looking solid, but now it's time to break out the bronze. Janet said to shake up the bronze a good deal. We're going for. I want to finish this off, um, and I may use the holy white because it's kind of like this grayish feel if you can see her. But it's more. I don't know. I don't know if this will get it. I don't know, but that's gonna be the last thing I do. There's Greylord Grey to do for here underneath there, and interior of these. Maybe I'll do that first. Let this dry, and then I could bronze the rest. Game finish, not a heckle, you too. All right, so as you can see, there's no 2.0 on this one, right? This is the 1.0 set. This is Greylord Grey, and as I'm looking on the box for 2.0, this is not included. Yep, this is not included in the 2.0 box. This is a 1.0 item, and it's Grave Lord Grey. I use this quite a bit. I had to get the Iron Repainter dry brushes because my wife was getting suspicious after too many of her makeup brushes disappeared. Yeah, that's a thing that could happen.
There's advantages to having a partner who's a gamer.
They don't mind. Just for people who are curious about, okay, well, which brush do I buy? The Army Painter sets, either whether 1.0 or 2.0, comes with a brush. Use. It's actually this one comes with. I haven't used it because these are my babies. The Nick Pros, 3 zeros, rounds. Those are my go-tos. I basically use them for everything. But if you're, um, I don't want to look into 10 billion things, they come with a brush that you.
Also, when you're first starting, don't spend a fortune on brushes.
Yeah, that's true.
You'll kill them. I mean, my brushes are probably about 10 UK pounds or 12 to $13 each. But they will last me forever. For stuff that I'm going to abuse, I have brushes that are more like $1 each and are synthetic. And they don't last that long, but I don't mind.
Yeah. And if you could see as my hands go, my hands do shake a ton. So, like Brian was saying, I'm just bracing on the mini, I'm bracing on the table. I just try my best. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
That's the easy part done. Because I don't know how well you can see from there. but her nose is pierced, her eyebrows are pierced, and her ears have multiple piercings.
Have you added that in there? Probably have to zoom in closer for me.
Focus is fixed, set at fixed length.
Oh,
so
gotcha, gotcha.
Out of focus. But you can start to see it on the edge of her ears there, and on her eyebrows, and there's a nose ring.
Oh yeah. And are you gonna get all those in some type of gold or bronze?
That's the plan. Wish me luck.
You're gonna be using that zoom cam for sure.
I'm going to be, luckily, I've got a so the disc is about that, find out where I am, about that big for the higher power magnifier. But that is what I'm about to. These won't be as hard as the pupil.
Marcel's asking, where did you get those minis?
These minis are produced by Hero Forge. They're 3D printed, so I 3D printed this one myself. The printer was an Anycubic D2 DLP printer. There is now supposedly one printer out there that might be better. I haven't tried it, but it's the Elegoo Mars Pro 9K, and it's literally only just come to market. But I don't know the cost of that. I know that the D2 isn't hugely expensive, and this particular mini is from a pack that you can buy directly from Hero Forge if you don't want to create your own minis on there. And you can basically buy a pack of 5 STLs to print for the cost of one mini. Hero Forge will, for the low price of, send you minis they have printed and ones they print in full color. But that's not a cheap option. I mean, the full color ones are like $30 each or something like that.
Jeez. That just hurts my soul to hear that. Did not bronze. Find it.
I'm not in Canje's Discord because I haven't joined his Patreon. I spend all my money on paints and STL files.
That's all good. That's the thing. That's the cool thing about the Patreon. If you want to join, it's
But
there. If
my
you don't
wife
worry
is.
about it. Yeah.
So if you have questions, if you address them to Cynthia in Canje's Patreon, if you were in there, or I have one, if you go into the Cave of Creation, or go onto one of the Cave of Creation videos and just put it on there, and I will answer any questions you've got from there. So if you've got any headaches or questions on painting, Canje asked me about Handshake, so I went and created a video about Handshake. I'm quite happy to do that. In fact, I'm more likely to do a video if you ask me a question than I am just to do a video. I've been really bad about doing any videos recently. I am probably going to do one fairly soon on the new Hero Forge face customizer. But I've got to find time, energy, and desire to do that.
There's supposed to be a Talos brown in here, but I'm not seeing a Talos bronze. Is Talos bronze part of 2? I thought I had it. I've got this little sticker thingy, but here it is. Found it. Boom. Got it. It was face upside down. Now they tend to.
Now, the biggest headache with the number of paints I have is which one do I use?
Yeah. It's a good problem to have. It's a good problem to have. So,
I do have. There is an app out there. What's it called? um, called Paint Rack. There is a slight fee for it that has most of the paint colors from all of the different companies. So you can see all of your paints in a line and you can filter them by type. I kind of have to do that because I've got too many. And I've been in a conversation with them and they're going to start adding in the ability to say which of your shelves you've got them stored on. Because I tell them, it's great, but I need to know more about the colors. I need to be able to find them once you've told me which one, when I've said which one it is.
Yeah. So I'll be using this one from the it says speed paints, but notice it says metallic. This came with a 2.0 set, but I'm gonna be ordering the full metallic after this, but this is Talos Bronze that we're using. What I'll be using.
I'm actually using a bronze on this one to do all of the gold bits. The reason for that is I want something that's darker. If I make it a gold, it will be too pale and it may not show as well. If it doesn't work, I can always go back in and highlight it with gold.
Nice.
Some would say nice, others would say utterly insane. I'm not certain which side of the camp I am at the moment.
There's a little bit of there's a little bit of insanity things. Right? Ooh, there's a mess up. But I don't care. So y'all, when messes happen, you just clean them up if you can, and if you don't care, I think this makes more time.
Now, I have a bad habit, and people keep seeing me sticking brushes in my mouth.
Yeah, what does it taste like?
Which cleans them. I'm a paint eater. What can I say? But it can clean the color off your brush. So if you've made a mistake, you can get in really quickly to clean it up with the same brush. And it's another reason for having slightly wetter paints. They're easy to clean up. It's why I've been using that flow retarder for things like the eyes. But I don't recommend eating paint, just for the record.
There a specific paint du jour? A specific paint taste of choice that you prefer? Does Army
Well, chocolate
Painter
brown certainly doesn't taste like chocolate.
does so does Army Painter taste better than Citadel?
Believe it or not, there are entire discussion groups just about that.
This is where the labels start getting made, where it's like, do not eat paint. Do not put paint on sandwich.
There was actually a pro acryl Facebook thing about don't eat paint not long ago.
Because it's become a thing.
Oh, it hasn't become a thing. It's been a thing for a long time.
Whenever I see specific warning labels, I always say to myself, okay, who did it? For instance, chainsaws. I don't know if you ever looked at a chainsaws manual. But one of the things on the chainsaws manual, see my hands shaking like crazy. One of the things on the chainsaws manual says, do not operate near genitals. Why is that in the manual? Who did it? That they had to put it in a manual.
I'm using YouTube channel the other day called Tyler Tube, where he was discussing how dangerous pressure washers can be, and had proceeded to get hold of some ballistic gel so that he could show how dangerous they were, and he'd cut through the ballistic gel to show that a pressure washer will cut your finger to the bone, was trying to test to see if the pressure washer could blast through a protective work boot. And at one point, he put his foot up to hold the work boot in place. His foot was in socks and sandals. So while demonstrating that you could do this, he nearly did it to himself.
Oh boy.
My favorite for that was my carpentry master when I went to theatre school.
Mm.
He didn't actually chop his feet off or blast himself. Unlike my carpentry master, had managed to cut at one point 2 of his fingers off by putting them through a table saw. And it had been sewn back on and he was fine. And at one point he was demonstrating to students how he'd done that and proceeded to do it again.
No.
So he had 2 fingers that were 6 millimeters shorter than they should have been because of the width of a table saw 3 mil.
No. Oh boy. I don't think he should be running that class.
Sadly, he's no longer with us, but it had nothing to do with that. That was
I was going to ask, did it have anything to do with a table saw? And forgive me, people who hear me chewing on something. Actually, for some strange reason, I got a sore throat last night, so I have a lozenge in my throat that just kind of helped me not sound funnier than I already do. Have you had a chance yet? If you haven't, that's perfectly fine. But have you had a chance yet to watch the D&D session that I've been running?
I've seen some of the early ones. I haven't seen all of them.
Mm-hmm.
They seem fun.
Fun time. The trouble
You're
with
doing a good job of it.
Right. Okay. Stuff I could do better. I always critique myself. I think I'm the world's worst DM. But there's.
Is everyone having fun?
Yeah. That's the.
Then
check.
you're not the world's worst DM.
But I think one of the things about D&D and watching D&D is watching it live is different than watching it recorded like after the fact. So I know a lot of people who've watched it live, like Marcel said he's been watching it, but when you watch it live, it's a fun experience because everybody's there, everybody's talking, everybody's having a good time, and there's responses. But when it's recorded, it's a 3 to 4 hour investment. And not everybody's got that kind of time to spare in their day. They've got a lot of other stuff going on, so that's why I was like, when it comes to watching D&D, it could be hard to catch up because it's like, oh, they've been through 5 episodes at 3 hours each. This is 15 hours of that I need to watch of content, and then it's like, do I want to do that or do I want to do something else?
Well, then it becomes actually, when you're watching it back, it's far more about the story.
True.
What if you're watching it during? It's about the interaction between the players and your interaction with everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
So equally, part of it's what you're looking for.
Marcel said he paints while he's listening, which is that's a good idea.
Yeah, and the thing I frequently paint while I'm listening to you audiobooks.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. And I've started so Brian and Cynthia put me onto this series called Rivers of London series. And I actually finished just finished the first book called Midnight Riot, I believe. It's a good series. Very good series. I had questions, but Brian said he won't tell me to just keep reading. But I am very, very curious where that story is gonna go.
All over the place is the answer.
So Brian, are you the same Brian who showed Derek around Edinburgh? Brian didn't show me around Edinburgh. Bob did. Brian showed me around Birmingham.
I say I didn't really show you around Birmingham. We went to Games Expo, but
Yeah. Yeah, we went on that walk, right? That really nice park where we just kind of I think we got in the day before Expo. We had a really great dinner at I cannot remember the name of that restaurant, but we went back there twice. But we went there, we had dinner, and we like Brian, Cynthia, myself and my partner, we went walking in a park and it was nice. Birmingham. So you're in Peaky Blinders then. I have not watched Peaky Blinders. I know the show, but I just haven't watched it yet.
no, I'm not from Birmingham. That just happened to be where Games Expo is.
Yeah, you're outside of Bath.
I live just outside Bath, but I'm originally from London. Technically, I'm a Cockney.
Yeah, can you break out the accent?
No, I said technically I'm a Cockney. The description of a Cockney is anyone that's born within the sound of the Bow Bells, and I was born within the sound of the Bow Bells.
I don't know what the Bow Bells are. School me on that.
The bells of the Church of Mary Le Bow in central London.
Oh, gotcha.
Most people get that bit wrong as well, and they think it's the area of London known as Bow, which it isn't. See, you learn all sorts on these.
I do. I do.
Yeah. Just for a note, we don't live in Bath, we live near Bath. Living in Bath is the second most expensive city in the UK.
Outside of London?
Half an hour away.
Is London the first?
Yes.
Okay. That was like the prices that were in London were outrageous. Marcel says I was born
Now
in
I've got to start
Plymouth
thinking colour.
myself and now live in Dublin.
Dublin's beautiful. I'm very jealous because it means you get decent Guinness. Outside of Ireland, I'm not a fan of Guinness. In Ireland, I'll drink Guinness all day long.
Guinness is too harsh for me.
Have it in Ireland. It's a completely different drink.
My friends lives in there. Cool. Chapter's done.
Oh, here's Loquita.
Hey Zach, what's going on? You're painting again? Yeah. Brian was about to beat me over the head and shoulders if I didn't get back into it.
I wasn't going to be that nice. I wasn't going that high.
Oh gosh. Oh dear.
Well, I meant your stomach. I don't know what you're talking about.
Uh-huh. Oh. out. Is there
Mm,
a wooden color? Yes, there
me
is.
too, Marcel. I live in Somerset, where the good cider comes from. The only place I will drink Guinness is if I'm in Ireland.
Yeah, I haven't gone through this entire box to see the different colors that are added in 2.0, but I'm liking what I'm seeing. There should be. I thought there was. I know Oak Brown's in. Probably need to get it.
Yeah. There are two places to go for cider. One is Suffolk, one is Somerset. I live in Somerset. I'm biased. I think we make the better cider. And if you don't drink Strongbow, I'm afraid I'm not able to talk to you.
I don't drink cider. Thing is, bourbon's jam.
I've got a very nice bourbon. So it's easier to get than it was when we first got it. Cynthia will have to look in the cupboard and tell you what it's called.
And I know there's a lot when it comes to bourbons though. I'm not a connoisseur of the high top shelf bourbons. I'm a cheap date. Wild Turkey, and I'm good. Um,
See, I wouldn't consider myself a connoisseur. My brothers, on the other hand, whiskey in any form.
yeah,
So whether it's bourbon, whether it's scotch, then yeah, that's a different matter. So I have a good whiskey collection, but not because I'm a whiskey expert.
because he is. Yeah,
Two of them.
I my friends, some of my friends, they are whiskey snobs, and so I think the first time we found out, I told them, "Oh yeah, I enjoy them as well, but I don't go high end. I'm get me any type, and I'm solid." And I told them like you could get me Wild Turkey, and I'm good. And they were like, "Wild Turkey." They got real snobbish because I was like, they're like, "Oh, that's nothing. This guy." Like, I don't care. Y'all spend the money. I'll drink your booze.
Yeah, we've got my brother's are members of the Scotch Whisky Society that do single casks,
Mm-hmm.
and they've bought us an interesting single cask, which is phenomenal. So it doesn't come out that often because I don't want it to disappear. Rum, at the moment, I'm in the world of Kraken coffee,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is amazing.
Yeah, I'm a Caribbean kid, so rum's always a winner.
The
Always.
coffee variant that they've just brought out of Kraken spiced rum is phenomenal. Um, I've just had Cynthia yell up, "I sound like a lush." Well, sweetheart, I'd just like to make the point you drink more than I do.
Oof.
It is Amazon Do It. It is amazing. It's like a rum coffee liqueur. It's sadly because I've just been on a cruise and a holiday involving lots of pizza and gelato. I'm on a diet.
So is the gelato, because you were in Venice and is the gelato better than
Yes.
anywhere else?
Next. So's the pizza, so's the pasta, and the. I mean, I'm not an espresso drinker. I was drinking espresso.
Yeah, I when I was there, because I'm lactose tolerant, that I was getting a lot of sorbet there, right? I couldn't go full, gelatos can also be ice cream. So I was getting a lot of sorbet there, and my thing was more I found a shop in London that served like the best sorbet I've ever had, but my brother told me, he
Their
said
gelato is ice cream. It's not. They do sorbets, but generally most of it
it's
is
ice
ice
cream,
cream.
yeah. So my brother told me, he was like, Italy has the best sorbet and ice cream, just hands down. So I'm
Like I say,
curious.
I can't comment on the sorbet. I didn't have any.
Yeah. But I'm curious. My curiosity is very piqued by that statement.
But yes, the gelato was phenomenal. And there was one place we went to, and the gelato was phenomenal. But the way they served it, they cut it into slices and made them into flower petals, so it looked like you had a rose of ice cream.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. I like that a lot. I'm even wondering if I need to. So, what do y'all think of this? Questions, because I'm now questioning myself. So I'm now wondering if I should even put the frills on the cape or just leave a dusty color. Here's what it looks like. Here's what I have, and I'm thinking of just leaving it. Honestly, I think this looks really good. Thinking of kind of like leaving that pretty much done. Highlight the robe frills. Lightly. Okay. That. I could. You know what I could do with that? I can dry brush them. Highlight them with dry brushing. Ooh, look at that. That's the first time that's happened. Flatten this down. Later. Or flat. Now, can you dry brush it already? I'm working on it. I'm working on it. There we go. All right, there we go. So we'll get some matte white. This is just regular A Army Painter matte white. This is not speed paint. This is just regular matte white. And I'm going to dry brush. Dry brushing is interesting. Fine. That. Touch both ends. Then you wipe it off on the napkin. Just a little bit. Go too crazy with it. Then you just kind of, when you're dry brushing, you just kind of do this motion to it.
If you can, for dry brushing, what you're better off with is a texture board. So here's mine.
Oh, nice.
And it's just, this was one I printed. You can buy them. They've just got lots of different lots of textures on them to get the paint off, but it also helps you judge how the brush is doing and going to work.
Fair enough.
And yeah, that was just quick, found on Thingiverse and 3D printed.
That's looking really good, right? Compared to that side. Like that side. Too much. Crazy. This looks good. I think it's coming out good. My eyes will go to it. I know we don't want to make it too white, but just some little sets on it should be good. That's why I tried to get it on a little bit on the frills to bling this out. And I think just getting it a little bit more white than gray pay off. Yeah, that's looking good. Yeah, more where the light falls, and that's why I went on that side. So the light would come from this end, pass by that one, and then darker on this. So you see I still got the shadows there at the bottom. So it's on the top, we definitely need to go a little bit of a that. That's good. I actually think that came out pretty good. Yeah, I'd look. I don't know. I ain't mad at this. Get it to focus. Here we go. That's just with the dry brush. I think that came out pretty well. I'll put it for comparison. I think the detail is still there on the feathers. Right here is where you were saying it was too much, but I'm treating this as the light source. And that's the reason why I went heavy on that one. I probably could have, you know, because I don't want to mess up the speed paint, I'd like to do dry brush on the helmet to give a little bit of a sheen, but it came out pretty good. Oops. Can't hold it. So I think it came out pretty solid. Yeah? This is for Shovel Knight. Hey Jan. For Shovel Knight, the board game. And I'll show you like what we started off with, and this is what we ended with. Derek Angelo, I wish. So what we started off with was a mini like this. So they're comparable in size. And this is what we ended off with. So we've got, see if I can make it focus. Hold on. What? Focus on me. There we go. So that's what we ended off with. Boy, he was purple just like this. So this is what you started off with. That's what we ended off with for him. Then we got these ones where I just need to get the wood. Yeah, he's roughly the same scale as Marvel United for sure. So that's these. I just need to do the wood there and then paint the bases black because I don't base, sorry guys. But I just usually do a black base around all of them. And then this guy's, we're pretty much done with our 4. These will be easy to do. Oh, we're at 222, which is 722. Gotta be closing it out. But yeah, we got our first 4 done. I'll just do the base and then just brown these ones, and I will post them on I'll post them over on my Instagram, for where I post all the mini pictures that are up there for people to check out. But I think call it a day on.
There's
Oh, let me switch over to you. Oh man, you're even getting the collar and stuff. That looks really, really good.
But how many minis have you done?
The difference between speed painting and whatnot, but yours is gonna come out so much better though. Like because you're taking the time to detail the ink to get everything going. So I think that looks incredible.
And actually, under outside of what the camera's doing to it, the camera isn't doing it justice right now, to be honest. But yeah.
Looking amazing. Okay, let's head back up. Goodness. All right. So we're gonna call it here for today. Brian's still in. So we're gonna call it here for today. But thank you so much, Brian, for joining in. Brian is was my painting sensei. So I'll be learning from him as we go. We'll be back to paint more, and hopefully we'll have, if anybody else wants to join in our painting and join us on, we've got space. We've got, awesome stuff on the stream to go through to paint all these different minis. I'm going to, I told Panda Cult Games, I said I'm going to paint these up and then I'm going to play the game. So I'm going to try to get them painted up so we can really enjoy the playthrough of it. But if Brian's up for it, we'll be back next Saturday around the same time, painting some more minis and see how it goes.
Don't think I've got anything booked, but we will see. I know there's one day next weekend we're doing something, and I don't know which one it is yet.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll stay close on it. You'll let me know how if you're able to make it or not, but we'll see. So thanks everybody for joining us. Thank you, Brian, so much for coming on stream, and thank you my patrons, my YouTube subscribers, and if you're neither just coming in to hang out, thank you and welcome as well. Everybody have a great weekend. Just know I love y'all, and there's absolutely nothing you could do about it. Bye, everybody.
And trust me, it's true because I keep trying.
You have no choice. You're stuck with me for life.